Hello, everyone. So we got this Year in the Machine Episode 5 Community Q&A Part 2 video, and I took the liberty of snipping out two of the questions and answers that were given from users on the forums to Nodezero that he gave his answers to, two in particular that I want to, listen to and then react to and give my opinion on. As most of you probably know, if you're watching this video, or even if you're just watching this channel, I am a huge longtime Gears fan, over 10 years. Don't play the game at all anymore. It's been probably, not realistically, but not seriously, haven't been playing the game for over a year. I think Gears of War 4 in the current market, in the current day of gaming, is a terrible product. I think that the game has a fantastic esports scene. I think that they've put a lot of passion and hard work. They're working with one of the best companies, MLG, out there. The community is fantastic. And unfortunately, because of poor development, I think that the marketing dollars that is being spent for esports, because that's what esports is, it's all marketing for the game, is ultimately wasted. I think the biggest issue with Gears is the development and the blatant disconnect that the developers have from their community. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this. The first question being, are there any plans on universal weapon tuning? So let's see.
We totally recognize that the core competitive divide is a really controversial topic inside Gears of War 4. We decided to have two different tunings when we realized there were really sort of two different bodies of people that wanted to play this game in two very different ways.
We decided, so that in itself, it's a pretty clear picture that they chose that they wanted to segregate their community. And they even say that, he said there are two different groups of people that want to play the game in, two different types of ways. And I agree. There are people that like to play the game the core way. And the problem is that when you're building a game, you have to have some conviction as a developer. You have to be smart. And when you consciously split your player base, that is not smart. There is no case that can be made here. So let's let him continue. I'll let him, say his case to kind of explain why they have consciously chosen, we decided to split the player base.
If you go back and check out one of the earlier Gear in the Machine episodes, you'll be able to see some of the damage charts for the Nasher, where you can see that core really is much closer to how Gears of War has been played historically. And we have data that shows that it's the more popular of the two tunings, and far more people play it. It really is the type of tuning that people that have played previous Gears of War, as well as new players on Xbox Live who come to this game, really expect to be able to be powerful as an individual player. Now,
okay, so he's basically defending their decision here. What he's saying is that, core is actually the mode that is most close to other Gears of Wars. And he says, and we actually have data to show that, people expect to be powerful, and new players to Xbox Live want to get on the game and play this mode. How do you have data to show that? I don't think that's possible. I don't think you have any data, in fact, to show that brand new players that are getting on Xbox Live want to play Gears of War in this way. I don't see how that's possible. There's absolutely no way to quantify what a brand new player joining a new title wants to do. You know what a brand new player wants to do? They want to play the game, and you're forcing them to play one of the two pseudo games within your game. As for showing that, people want to play core, I'm absolutely sure. And you also need to understand that my position, although previously, way back when I made videos, discussing the core versus competitive argument, I was heavily in favor for competitive tuning. You have to understand that ultimately, I don't really care what tuning you use. And I think the OP of this question doesn't really care either. They're asking you, are we going toward a universal tuning? universal. He's not saying, are we going to get rid of core tuning? He's not saying, are we going to get rid of competitive tuning? He's asking you if the game will be blanketed under a single tuning of the weapons. So I think you have made a mistake. I think you know you've made a mistake, and now you're doing this backpedaling and this shuffling to explain your mistake, and you can't. You simply can't. So we'll continue.
Now, to branch into esports, we recognized that we needed a much deeper, competitively tuned game, and we took a departure from how Gears of War has previously been tuned.
And that's fine. You know, you can make that decision. You could decide that the game tuning should always be the way that Gears was, to be nostalgic. You don't have to necessarily please the pro players in terms of balance. And while like I said, core tuning is ridiculous. It's like playing the game in like an arcade mode. It feels like you go into custom games and you like yank the percentages up, and that doesn't even matter. But again, you're making a conscious decision to split your player base, and I'll explain again here after I let you finish why that's a bad thing in the first place if you don't already know.
And that was, a very risky thing to do. We think we've been really successful there. We have a way of not only playing esports at a high level, but also fans that really like that type of game have a place to play it. And we think we've managed to hit both audiences inside this one game. And we're really trying to make one multiplayer.
What? This was the part. Okay, you have to know I've watched this already, but this is the part that kills me. We think we've hit both audiences. People that want to play the game both ways, and we're really trying to make one multiplayer.
As opposed to arguing which Gears of War is the best multiplayer. We don't want it to be 1, 2, 3.
So we want to make one multiplayer rather than arguing on which Gears is better, Gears 1, Gears 2, Gears 3, but instead you made Gears 4 core and Gears 4 competitive. So you just said you want to make one competitive, one multiplayer, but you created two pseudo multiplayers. You can't even get through a single sentence without contradicting yourself on this point, because it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense. And it's just this thing now. Like you the only way to make this right is to piss someone off. And the reason that is because you gave too much choice. You didn't say, "Hey, welcome to Gears of War. This is the tuning." You put a label on it. You gave someone to attach themselves to. You gave the core fan base, or just casual players who play the game in that way, you gave them a tuning. And now that's what they know. And I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to play the game that way. And you gave the competitive players a tuning, and that's what they know. And even though they've been helping you to change it, and that just doesn't even matter, actually, that's what they know. And now everybody's attached, and they're niched up in their little cliques. And you say you want to make one multiplayer and not compare which game is better, but you made two games within your own game. You made two games. You made Gears of War 4 core and Gears of War 4 competitive. And now you force the players to segregate. You force players to not participate in other playlists because they're uncomfortable with the tuning. You force pro players to never play outside of escalation, more or less, or competitive tuning, because they don't want to relearn the game. The core players don't want to relearn the game. You're ill-equipping core players and new players to go into competitive. You have to know that someone's going to get on this game. And okay, for me, I bought Call of Duty World War II, and I'm not a competitive player. And I know that Hardpoint is a competitive mode, but you know what? I was like, I'm going to start off in Team Deathmatch. And that's fine. You know why? Because Team Deathmatch is the same game. It's just a different mode. It's somewhere I can go and train. Can't do that in Gears of War 4. I can't go into Team Deathmatch and train my mechanics to go into escalation. You ruined that. You took that away from me. And not only that, some people will never even know. And they'll go from core settings into competitive, and they're going to be confused, and they're going to hate it. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
What we want is all the players acknowledging that they can find the type of multiplayer experience they want inside Gears of War 4. So while we do have two tuning sets, and believe me, I would love to just have one.
Then do it. Then do it. Pick one. I don't even care which one. The pros will be pissed, or the competitive or the core players will be pissed. Pick one. Or make a mix. Tune it down. Literally find a mathematical 50% between core and competitive.
Because then it would make it much easier to tune. But with these two tuning sets, we feel that these two different audiences can really find the experience that they want in Gears of War 4, and that's the most important thing.
And they have. And while it's the most important thing for you, it has been one of the biggest detriments to this title. And it will remain one of the biggest detriments to this title because of the fact that you effectively ruin playlists for some people on both sides of the argument. You have segregated the community. You've given them a reason to disagree on something. You have not clearly defined how the game is supposed to be played, because the game would be fundamentally played different if the game was entirely universally core, and it would be fundamentally played differently if it was entirely and universally played competitive. You have really done damage. I mean, you have done very serious damage to this community.
Yes.
Second question, will we ever see the return of in-depth leaderboards like Gears 1 to 3? Very important question. Actually, one of the biggest things that the game has been lacking and needing is, a very serious ranking system, that has a lot of transparency in it, something that you can very clearly see the purpose for your play. You can see the return on investment for your time when playing the game. And let's take a look at this.
When he's talking about leaderboards, I think he's talking about the versus leaderboards, because there are leaderboards in Gears of War 4 for Horde.
No one cares.
The reason we didn't do in-depth leaderboards wasn't a technical limitation, it was a design choice. And
Conscious decision. Just wanted to add that in. Conscious decision. Design choice.
what we wanted to do was to create really easily understood ranks so that players could compare themselves in conversation or online. I could say I'm a bronze player and you're a silver player. It's much easier to do that than I'm 276,321st and you're 261,123rd.
But why not both? Not a technical limitation. Doesn't hurt you. And there's clearly a desire. I don't remember who the OP of this question was, but there's clearly a want for it. And the people that don't care don't have to look at it. Sure, dude. I'm silver too, And hey, man, you're gold 3. That's awesome. I very clearly understand that he's a higher rank than me. But then I could say, well, dang, man, he's like almost a whole tier ahead of me. And I wonder how many places that is. Pull up the leaderboards. Dang, I gotta outplace 10,000 people to catch up to my buddy.
Right, so very few people can remember those specific numbers, and we wanted to make a really digestible way of understanding skill. Now we recognize that at the top end, in the diamond, there's people there want to really see those individual ranks, but we didn't think that what was right for our game was a leaderboard at the expense of really understandable rankings.
Why does it have to be one or the other? Why does it have to be one or the other? And I've already been super vocal about hitting diamond and being just dead there. Here's the thing. In other competitive titles, you have to know that online matchmaking, online ranking systems do not translate, one-to-one to the pro scene. So pro players will play those and they'll hold top tier spots. They'll grind it out. They'll hold 1 and 2, top 10, top 50 spots. And so will non-pro players. And it's important for those players to see where they land in that system. And it gives the system some serious weight when you can see where you land, because now you can breed new players for your $2 million circuit. You can give in-game community competition against each other. They want to constantly check that list. They're constantly looking, how did my daily session affect me on the list? Because yesterday I was 25. Dang, I lost a bunch of games. I'm 36 now. I played for 5 hours. I'm 36. Darn, that feels bad. I'm going to have to grind tomorrow. You build competition. You know what that does? It promotes content. It promotes people to get on YouTube and start doing, hey, road to top 500 on the leaderboards, or competitive, or for anything. It doesn't even matter what playlist they want to play in. You promote content, you promote streaming, you give players a reason to play your game, and the easy digestible ranks that listen, when those ranks images came out, they're beautiful. And I could sit here and talk to you about the inadequacy that was the post diamond rank that you never came out with, the master rank, the top 500 rank. But honestly, you don't even, like, the badge would be cool, and the badges are cool, but you don't really need them. What you need is the weight. You need the gravity of the system, and that will always come down to the literal placement. If I got to diamond, me, Crashy, I got to diamond in that first preseason 0, and Optic Mental can get to diamond, what does that mean? Well, I am nothing compared to Optic Mental. What does it mean? How far into diamond was I? If you don't understand that you not only have to have leaderboards, but you can also have both. You can have your cake and eat it too. I'm not asking for something crazy. It just blows my mind. This is a phenomenal opportunity to promote replayability in your game, and we didn't. You know, quotes. We didn't think it was right to have that instead of easily digestible ranks.
Thanks to everybody that sent a question.
That's it. That's where I cut. I didn't even cut the end off. It's it just baffles me. I've been sitting here for 16 minutes now. And this stuff, man, listen, I know I'm harsh. I really am, but I am just a person. Nodezero, Ryan, I think your name is. You're just a person. The problem is you're just a person that's wrong. And that's fine, but you need to find the connection to your community. And I'm not sitting here saying, I'm right. I'm probably, technically, I guess, a part of the vocal minority. I don't even play your game, dude. I am not a customer to you. I'm not. I don't buy gear packs. I don't own an Xbox 360. I don't own your game, literally. But I'm a community member that you and your team drove away. And I mean that. My investment, my money. I go to work. I do the same thing you do. I go to work. My money does not go to you. You don't deserve my money. My money goes to Overwatch. And in Overwatch, I've got my ranking. I know I'm in Diamond. And guess what? I have my ELO. And my ELO shows where I am in Diamond. So I can see how close I am to getting out of Diamond. And when the players get up to the high end of the leaderboards, they have their leaderboards. They're in the top 500. You can look and see. You can see their ELO. You can see their rank at their top 500. You can see where they are. Have your cake. Eat it too. Bring the player base together. Stop segregating people. Promote content. Promote grinding. Help players build a name for themselves off of your ranking system that actually deserves the gravity of the leaderboards. Let's change this, man. Let's fix this game. Let's turn it around, because it's not too late. This game, Gears of War 4, is one of the better developed games mechanically. And me not being a pro player, I don't care about the balance. I don't care about 2.1. I don't care about 2.5. Well, I don't care about, the wall bounce speed is weird and we need to have strafing improved. Leave that to the pros. Let them help you with that. I'm telling you that you never gave me a reason to play your game. You never gave me a reason to invest my time in Gears of War 4 and not Overwatch and not Call of Duty and not something else. And this is, 2017 coming up on 2018. Esports is blowing up. Your company, you're the company Microsoft that owns your studio, I assume, is putting huge dollars into your game, your product. And I'm telling you, and maybe you know this, you are failing that investment. It has to be better. You have to drive the esports scene so you can, recycle that into, copies sold and players on the game. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pulling it up. I'm going to Twitch. And the whole Mixer thing, being on Mixer is a totally different thing. And I know you have nothing to do with that. But it is absolutely 100% unacceptable that at noon right now, Overwatch has 32,000 viewers, and Gears of War 4 has 67 viewers. Less than 100 people streaming and viewing Overwatch. And, Gears of War 4. That's just, and I'm not sitting here comparing the Coalition and Microsoft to Blizzard. I'm comparing games and popularity. And the natural order to things is that if people love your game, they will play it. They will stream it, they will make content for it, and it will replay itself. And I'm like, again, I understand that Overwatch is a titan compared to you, so please don't attach yourself to that. I could use a different example very easily. It's just the game that I choose to invest my time and money in because it's a phenomenal product. But less than 100 people because the community is not passionate about Gears of War 4 anymore. It's not. You haven't captivated the audience. You haven't given them a reason to continue playing, and so they don't. They don't stream it. They don't record it. You know, professional players hop off this game when they're done with scrims and they go play Call of Duty. They play in Call of Duty tournaments. It's time to turn this game around, and I hope I've given you some information that is, while, you know, this isn't the harshest way I could have been. I could have been more. I actually wanted to make a very non-harsh video. I don't know if I succeeded in that. But I hope someone hears this, because whether it's a QA tester that leaks this to Microsoft, or whether it's an executive at the coalition that says, hey, this guy doesn't even play our game but says some truth, or maybe it's you that, Ryan, that hears what I had to say. You got to change it. I don't make videos for this type of stuff. I don't usually pour 21 minutes of my own time into Gears. At best, I interact with people on Twitter because, they're people I enjoy to follow, and I may sit in on some of the tournaments. And I love the community, man. Look, I said I have literally no stock in Gears of War. I'm going to the MLG Dallas event to watch. I know you and your team can be better. I know you can. And Gears of War 4 has been a giant ball burning of potential. And it's time to cash in on that. So start making some good decisions. Start asking questions in different places or something, and give the community a game that they deserve. Give the pro players a game that they deserve. All right, that's it.